Welcome back. We have been talking to Mr. Akintola Temitope. Thanks for still staying with us. Okay, but we also have another guest joining us through a phone call. His name is Comrade Efunkomaya Emmanuel. Good morning. Nice to have you on the show.
Good morning. Nice to have you here.
Okay, so Mr. Akintola, before we went on a break, I asked you how strong is your faith in the tribunal?
Well, judging from what is happening as a result of the outcome of this election, you know, the U.S. government and some other European countries have decided that anyone that truncates the outcome of the election or that contributed to whatever that happened, that doesn't make the election to be generally accepted before Nigerians, shall be sanctioned. And they meant it. And you know already they've been petitioning these foreign bodies, the embassies, some Nigerians, some pressure groups, and mentioning names of most of these judges. Already they forwarded the names of the Supreme Court justice, the tribunal judges, those that people feel like, okay, they might eventually make the list for the judges. And even Court of Appeal justice, their names, their numbers, everything have been forwarded to these embassies. So that one will serve as a check, because injustice to one is injustice to all. So I believe all the justice, starting from the tribunal, you know, they have to go through the three rungs: the tribunal, Court of Appeal, and Supreme Court. So right now, the first step is the tribunal, and those ones, all eyes are on them. And there's something about the law. Law is based on evidence and not fact. So if you have evidence that are airtight, that are watertight, I don't see how technicalities that a certain jury member of a particular position normally used to, you know, upset interpretation of the law. So it's not going to come up now.
Okay,
we have more than enough
before we
evidence.
go to Ms. Emmanuel,
Yes.
there is also a saying that he who goes to equity must go with clean hands. Are you sure your principal has his hands clean before heading to the tribunal?
Well, we have already forwarded our petitions. I think it's more than 100 pages or thereabouts. So we can only see everything in there. Right. I know they will also have the allegations, but if they can prove it in court, then there is no problem.
All right. Let me just pause you for a while.
Okay.
Comrade, are you there with us?
Yes, I am.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.
All right. Comrade, I want you to react to this statement coming from the president-elect. He is actually calling for, if I'm not mistaken, calling for a healing process. All right? And he's saying that that must begin. What's your perspective concerning that? Let's start from there.
Yes. First of all, we all know our president-elect is a national leader, the leader who entrusts himself in forming alliance and also a peacemaker. And he has done the right thing by calling all parties to come, let's talk, let's forward to this aftermath of the election, and let's go for the national development that we all benefit from. So doing the right thing is, the first step is calling up for national peace, which he has done, and I would employ every other political party to join in whatever he has been planned for.
All right, comrade.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, let me flip the coin. If, for instance, as it was alleged that the election was not given a fair treat or well conducted in order for it to favor all parties, let me flip the coin. If, for instance, the Labour Party actually was given the win and he is now calling for a healing process and saying the healing process must begin, do you think that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu would have accepted that in good faith, just the way other parties are not accepting the reconciliation or the healing process? What's your perspective concerning that?
I can remember vividly when he was campaigning, he said if he loses, he will congratulate the winner and work with the winner.
Do you think he really meant that? Do you think he really meant that?
He will. We can remember during the presidential election when the Lagos State vote was counted, he lost Lagos. He called every citizen in Lagos to keep calm and let the will of God prevail. He is a man who believes in himself, who believes in the will of God, and I feel he will, as a national leader, support any other person that won the election.
All right. Now, let me ask you this question. He said election is pivotal to the growth of the Nigerian economy and also is something that should sustain our democracy, right? Now, what do you think? What's your perspective to that?
Come again, please.
I said the president-elect made a statement saying that the election is pivotal to the growth and sustainability of our democracy, and also it's also important to the democratic governance at the state level. What's your idea? What's your opinion concerning that?
Due to the fact that we all know the crisis, the cash crisis we are facing, the crisis we are facing in Nigeria, a lot thought, well, if the election was good, and a lot thought, well, if they had won, wouldn't it be the same outcome as of the June 12, 1996? He had said it himself that this is going to bring a lot of development into the country. And then I feel right now Nigeria is working in the right path in terms of every system is going to work functionally, because I believe in him and I believe in anything he has to offer.
All right, now let me ask you one more question, and I'll put you on the pause mode so that we can bounce back to our guests in the studio. They'll come back at you.
Okay.
Now, if he felt that election is pivotal to the growth of our democracy, and a lot of people out there are saying that the way and manner the election was conducted wasn't fair and transparent enough. Is this the kind of election that is going to add to the growth of our economy and also to the nation at large?
Yes, it is.
Why do you say so? Why do you say so?
This election is not free and fair. He's looking for a national crisis. Because if they can accept the will of God, development to set in. He's welcoming advices from every other political presidential candidate in terms of how to tackle the economic meltdown we are facing right now.
Okay. All right, Mr. Emmanuel, are you still online?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I have a question for you. The president-elect is calling for reconciliation. I want to get this right. What is the reconciliation about? What is it trying to talk about reconciliating? Yes, number one. And he's also saying the healing process begins. What are people trying to heal from? Because from your word, you're saying the election was free, fair, and just, if I may put it that way. So what is the president-elect trying to... what is it saying that...
Reconciliation in terms of what it means is every policy, every idea, every other political campaign being had, they can be brought to for the national development. Not keep calling every political presidential candidate that the election wasn't free and fair, but it's showing open the arms of governors and free communications to other political candidates.
So what's the healing process all about? What do people need to heal from? Is it from the violence we recorded, or most of the people that lost their life during the process? What are they really trying to heal from?
The election fever, the all threat, and every other thing that every other political party have. Like the threatening that they are going to burn down the arena for the inauguration of the new president-elect, and then every other thing. He just wants the calmness and he wants the country to be united and move forward.
Okay, that's what he's telling people to heal from.
Yes.
And I want to ask you this last question before I put you back to my colleague. You feel the presidential election was free and fair?
Yes.
So if it was, why is he coming out to make this statement?
Why is he coming out to meet these people?
Yes, because you said
As
it
a
was free.
national man,
What?
as a national man,
No,
every outcome of the person.
you said the
Every
election.
outcome.
Hello, Mr. Emmanuel, please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, you said it was free and fair, but the the president-elect is coming out to tell us the healing process begins. If it was free and fair, what do people need to heal from?
You know when you reach an election, you don't want to accept defeat. A lot of people want to look for a way to sabotage the incoming administration, so a way to look for the downfall of the incoming administration. But now it's calling out on every one of us, every one of them to be calm. Nigeria is safe for me, it's safe for you, and it's safe for our children. Let's build on our resources and let's make Nigeria a better place.
All right, comrade, your opinion is is respected, you know, because you're entitled to your opinion. But let's just keep you on the pause mode. We'll come back to you. Our guest here is also, you know, itching to react to what you're saying, because I feel he doesn't, you know, align with those thoughts. What's your perspective concerning what he has just said? Looking at the fact that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is saying that election is pivotal to the growth of our democracy. And to some persons, including your very person as well, you are not of the opinion that the election was fairly conducted. And this to you cannot add to the growth of our economy, of our governance, as far as Nigeria is concerned. What's your reaction to what he has just said and to what his principal has also said?
I think he spoke more. He spoke more like a party man and not like a patriot.
Okay.
No, a patriot will not utter what you just said.
Why do you feel that way?
Even a Stevie Wonder, you know, Stevie Wonder is blind. Stevie Wonder can see, though he's blind, but can see probably with his inner that, man, this is no election. And now she actually raised a very vital point to counter him that if you say this election is free and fair, then what's the point of it?
Why is he coming out to say the healing process?
But you can see him dance because
Yes.
he's a party man. That's why it's always good at times to bring in people who can be neutral, can balance things up, and we can go straight to the point, because
of course, that's why we have you here. Even though you also have a
yes, but I will always like to balance things up.
Oh yeah, so balance it up. That's why you're here.
Now, election is pivotal to the growth, development of a nation, right?
Yes.
The more reason why it must be free and fair.
Fair.
But to
That's
you,
the
you're
premise.
feeling that it's not free and fair.
It's not to me.
Is it because
wait, no, let's get something straight.
is not favored, so to
now,
speak?
I'm very sorry, I've already shown myself as, okay, I belong to, as soon as me as a neutral person, let's leave, probably I belong to
Party.
the other side of the yes, as human being, what you saw on that day. Now, of course, I've not finished the other one I was talking about.
Yes, I want you to come
They
back.
held on to that presidential election. It was a switch off from the central server. That's what we eventually got to know about it. And it was proven by Amechi. You know, I was talking about Amechi before we actually went for break. Now, Rotimi Amechi said, sir, people are concerned, sir, come and see what is happening again. No, INEC chairman announced that what happened during the presidential will not repeat itself during the gubernatorial. Election will be result will be uploaded right from the polling unit to the central server. Unfortunately, again, the same madness was repeated.
Yes, a lot of people complained about it.
That's what happened, my sister. That's what happened. So Amechi was accosted because it was in Rivers. Sir, come on. Eventually, he went there.
Sorry to butt in. We just have to choose our words because we're on air.
Okay.
That word madness, please. We want to call for your.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry about that.
Okay, so let's just go on this break, and then when we come back, we'll have you air your views more on this.
Thank you very much.
Let's stay tuned.
All right.